Sorry I'm late, folks. I was having technical difficulties. I do not know what I did wrong, and I don't know how it got fixed. But I'm here. Sorry. I was having technical difficulties. I got to turn the volume off on my phone so I can see the chat. Larry is very sick today. He's been very sick all weekend. I haven't spoken to him in a couple days now, and I'm not sure what's going on. But his illness is probably quite serious. So anything anybody can do to help him with some medical bills. He went into the hospital last night and they wouldn't touch him without payment up front. And I want to thank everybody who did something for him over the weekend with his PayPal account. His PayPal account is nicholslive@aol.com. Anything you can do to help today would be greatly, greatly appreciated. I was talking to somebody this morning who donated this morning, and he said, you know, we need to have some kind of a fund set up that we could have somebody who had access to a lot of money who could, you know, take donations or help with donations, but be a backup. We've had a few people who have from time to time been able to do that for a month or two, and that's why, you know, what we've been able to raise in asking you to even just do $1 a month has been enough to keep him going, because we have had a few people who have done an awful lot. But all those resources have now dried up, and he is really, really sick today and needs some help. With that being said, I'd like to talk about a few things that, with our Never Socialism campaign, are important for us to remember. Starting off, remember, Larry has said since the beginning of July 2016, 2 weeks before President Trump even got the nomination to be president, Larry was saying that Trump was outside of the norm of what society in Washington, D.C. is like. He was not going to be part of the cabal, and they were not going to allow him to stay. They would do whatever it took to get rid of him, whether they would impeach him or worse. And you've heard over the last 2 years all that has been said about that. And now they're saying, you know, Pelosi may be saying no impeachment, but AOC, as far as I know, is continuing to say we need to impeach, to leave. And others of these new congressmen are talking about it. Adam Schiff is continuing the investigation, as far as I know. Although I did hear something this morning that, you know, he may be coming into some trouble himself for the things that he has done. Remember, folks, the reason they want to get rid of President Trump is because we are not important to them. All they want us for is the votes to keep them in office and the votes to keep them in power. That's all they want. That's all they care about, is their job. Larry has told us this over and over and over again. Larry knows a lot about what has happened in Washington, D.C. over the last 30 years. He knows about the corruption very deeply. He used to attend Progressive Council meetings. Now, I don't know for sure whether that's the elite 45 that kind of think they rule the world. I'm not sure. I don't get details from him, and I don't ask. Sometimes it's just safer not to know. But with the contacts he made with his work around the world, as you know, working with the ops that he did for the government, he's built relationships all over, and gets told, if you read his book 28 Years to Nowhere, you would know he has what he calls a magic mailbox, and things show up when somebody doesn't want to take the rap for information. A lot of times they will give it to Larry because they know Larry will tell the truth and that Larry will get the information where it needs to be. Timing is everything. And as we are approaching another election cycle, this is the time to begin. So I'm going to talk about a few things. We've kind of mentioned them before, but I'm going to talk about a few things that we need to be thinking about doing. One thing that would be very helpful, if somebody would be able to contact me and let's talk about how to get some business cards with, and I don't know if you are seeing this right side or backwards, and if it's backwards, I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix that. It looks like on my phone it looks right. We need this logo on a business card, and all we want on it is the website, www.nicholslive.com. People can get all the information they need there. We probably will not include Nichols Army on the business card logo. We just the Never Socialism. If somebody is able to work with us to get a couple hundred of these printed, please contact me. Contact my cell phone, send a text message. That's the best way to get me. My house doesn't work very well. We only have one cell tower in my part of this county. So anyhow, text 240-499-6729. If you're able to help us get 200 business cards going, or 250 or whatever you think is a good amount. We need to work on getting the PDF logo or the JPEG logo to you so that you can get it done. But if you have funds to be able to do that for us, we greatly appreciate it. Remember, Larry's PayPal is nicholslive@aol.com. He desperately needs some help tonight. The t-shirts, okay? Across the back is the Never Socialism in big, bold, and obvious when you're walking someplace and somebody can pay attention to, they'll look your way and they'll see this bright yellow and it might catch their eye. It is a tool to help us prepare for the elections for next year. We have got to keep President Trump in office. Remember, a vote for any Democrat is a support of socialism. And if you fail to vote, you have in effect given your vote to socialism. Did I say never socialism? A vote for a Democrat is a vote for socialism. We see what's happening in Venezuela. AOC, I heard, but very early, before she even got to Washington, she was saying, well, they just didn't do it right. We'll do it right. But remember, folks, in Venezuela, they voted for social medicine 10 years ago. They were the fourth biggest economy in the world. They were the largest economy in South America and the fourth largest in the entire world. And look at them now. The elite live high. They're not touched by all of this. But there are a lot of liberals, there are a lot of wealthy people who do not realize that if we are under socialism and you are not one of the ruling elite, we all go down together. We conservatives want a moral society. We want the freedom to worship God. We want our children to grow up with our values. The liberals want their children growing up with their values. They want the abortion and homosexual agenda and whatever else that they want. Both liberals and conservatives want the freedom to pursue what's important to us. If socialism comes, we all lose that freedom. We all do. The only ones with any freedom are the ruling elite. And it will be terrifying for everybody. And if you don't comply, you won't be around very long. Our kids have not learned history the way we studied it. We older ones studied it, what we were taught. And of course, when we are well educated, we think we know more than our parents. I mean, I thought I did, didn't you? But our kids have been socially engineered to think socialism and communism is good. Just like they're taught to think abortion is good. But when confronted with the truth, you know, students who say that they are supportive of socialism, when you say, okay, here's what happens under socialism, let's take your good grades. Do you have good grades? Let's take your good grades. That student over there doesn't have good grades. You give half of your good grade to them and you share the good grade. Oh no, they didn't work for it. I worked for it. Well, that's how socialism works. No, they don't believe that. Well, just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it isn't true. And so we need to be challenging people to pursue the truth. And we are so close to the completion of socialism. That's why they are so angry that Trump won, because they were getting careless in letting the truth leak out because they thought it was a done deal. And now they're caught having told the truth that they want socialism, and they're having to deal with that, and they're backtracking. They're plotting what can they do next. And it's really interesting to hear about different factions of our government trying to decide how, what tactics they will use to counteract what the other side does. And the divisions in our country are not healthy. They're not good for us. It's a biblical principle that unity creates power. And the Democrats have been unified for decades in their pursuit of what they're doing. And we've got to unify as moral, conservative Christians and stop the infighting if we're going to save this country. And don't forget 2 Chronicles 7:14. It says, if my people who are called by my name, the name of God Almighty, Elohim, Yahweh, will humble themselves and pray, but it doesn't stop there. It says, seek my face. Turn from wicked ways. So repentance is needed. Then he will hear from heaven, forgive our sins, and heal our land. So we need to be talking about how to save the country. That is the answer. Larry went on Alex Jones in October of 2016. And he told the conference call group that he was going to be doing this. He says, I may never be on Alex Jones again. And I think he's only been on one time right after the election, and that he hasn't been back. But he said, I have to do this. He said, we need a miracle to save this country, and the only answer is God. And as he says, I'm going to quote him, 2 Chronicles 7:14 is the one place in the Bible where God, with specificity, tells us how to save our country. So I want you to know that Larry will continue fighting for our freedom, fighting against socialism, fighting against the deep state. If you have heard him pray, you know how he has repented for the things he used to do. But that was over 30 years ago. I think it is time that we let him off the hook for that, because he has repented of all of that, and he has been a totally different person ever since. And he is fighting for righteousness. He is fighting for justice, and he is worthy of our support because of it. So I'm going to check my phone and see if there's any question here that I can ask. Okay, Hazel, they can't refuse treatment. If he is dying, they can't refuse treatment, but what they will do is they will stabilize him and send him to the med center in Little Rock. And because of who he is, he will not live through the night there. He has no way of knowing who's around him. He doesn't know the nurses. There is so much Spanish and other languages spoken. He doesn't understand what's going on. He can't sleep there because he has to stay awake to make sure nobody tries to take him out, as they have tried. And it is too dangerous. And so the only way to keep him safe in the hospital is to pay for things up front. He has no medical insurance. He cannot get medical insurance. Thank you. Texting me your info is a great thing to do. Then I get, when I send out an email. Karen, what's happening? Larry is sick. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. I know when I talked to him on Saturday evening, he could barely talk. But he's been very ill all weekend. And let's see. Yes, the promise of the freebies that the Democrats are promising are things that the millennials with huge college loans or facing huge college costs when they're going into college. So they want the freebies. But the important thing to remember, whether it's the reparations for the blacks, the free health care that the Hispanics want and everybody else wants who's poor. I mean, the millennials have been under their parents' insurance, and now they're having to face paying their medical bills and paying their insurance on their own because they've aged out. They've got their college debt, they've got their college loans. So these freebies are going to entice all of them, not to mention what the Democrats are doing in keeping the borders open. Remember, the judicial system is already socialized and weaponized. And so when Trump issues an executive order on behalf of saving the country and helping us, they overturn it. And of course, stuff with the border is going to go to the Ninth Circuit. And you know how liberal they are. So Larry is not okay. Catherine, I do not know what's going on. I just know that the last time I talked to him, he was struggling to even be heard. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, the med center is very dangerous for Larry because although it's free, you know, it's free. It's where all the indigents go. It's where all the illegals go. It's the free health care. And yes, he can get treatment there, but he doesn't know. He has no way of knowing what they are doing to him or even for him. He has no way of knowing whether he can trust what they do. And he knows that if he ever lands there again, he is not likely to survive. Now, we do have somebody on the team that worked in the ER there a long time ago, and he thought highly of it, but that has not been, Larry's been there twice. Before I met him 3 years ago, he had gone down there for some reason. And I mean, it was so bad, he hitchhiked home. He was left overnight next to a dead body and another body that was bleeding out, and the blood was coming out of an artery and spraying all over him. And he couldn't get anybody's attention to get him into a safe location because they were full. And so he was stuck in the hallway on a gurney, a hard gurney, without a blanket, without a sheet. And it was bad. And he ended up leaving there and hitchhiking home and just saying he'd rather, you know, just take his chances at home than have to deal with that. And you know, God brought him back, and we've seen him come back many times. If you've been following him any time at all, you know that he'll have bad days and he'll bounce back. If he gets what he needs, then on a regular, you know, if he can stay on schedule, he copes just fine and is able to do the work that he needs to do on the phone. He works on the phone most of the time. He spends a lot of time on the phone, and even when he's had surgery, he's still working. He hasn't had a surgery in a while, but this guy doesn't stop, and he knows a lot, and he is an active participant in helping to save our country, and he works way harder than any of us realize. Now, if somebody has some funds to donate and needs to have some more information, you're not satisfied with what I'm able to share here, then contact me. I'm trying to make sure my phone doesn't die here, sorry. Contact me, 240-499-6729. And, if you must have more details, then contact me and we can talk privately. I don't know what else to say. Folks, stopping socialism is absolutely vital with this election. We have got to stop it. We have to. And I've watched year after year, every election after election after election. This is the most important one. This is the most important one. It does get increasingly desperate because the march towards socialism has been gradual but continual. So, whatever you can do to keep Larry, thank you, Crazy, for that offer. Anything you can do for Larry will be so greatly appreciated. And if anybody is able to help us get some business cards with this logo on it, contact me. Larry's PayPal, again, is nicholslive@aol.com. If you need an alternate, then please text me at 240-499-6729. I don't see any questions, so no, he doesn't go to the vet hospital that I know of. I don't know. He doesn't have vet benefits, and they were. Look, I don't know the details. Okay, all I can do is guess that a certain somebody who hates him might have something to do with it. But I can't speak of what I don't know, and I don't ask for details because it's none of my business. But you either appreciate what Larry does or you don't. And if you have money, then we need you to help. And if you don't have money, believe me, we understand. Then you have two choices to do. You get on your knees and you pray like you've never prayed before. And or ask other people. I have taken a jar with a couple dollars, some quarters, and I have gone door to door in my neighborhood and asked people to help. And probably going to have to do that again pretty soon here. Guys, do something. Talk to people. Like Larry said on Friday, invite people over for dinner and talk to them. If they are not interested, then stop talking about it, because you can't force people to believe as we believe, to believe and understand and know what's happening. If their minds are closed, you can't force it open. But you can ask leading questions and try to help them think for themselves. You'll do a lot better helping them think for themselves. And it's a skill we all have to learn. I'm not real good at it either. So, all right, I'm rambling, and that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for your prayers. Yeah, I wish it was a bad dream, Michael. Anyhow, do what you can to help Larry, help the country. Everything you do in help helps everybody else. So thank you very much, and hopefully Larry will get what he needs tonight and be able to be with us tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye.